the bond. Thank you. All right. Now, you can be my house detective, all right? When I forget to record, you can be the person that reminds me to record. All right. Now, you were all supposed to, let me share my screen and see if I can find what I need to find. Here is our slideshow, and we want to start from the current slide. All right, you all were supposed to have this paper ready to work with. Does everybody have that paper? Okay, and you are going to tell, no. I need for you to write down what you think helps living things to survive. So write down something you think helps living things to survive. And I see lots of people working. And it can be one thing or it can be a lot of things. What things you help, what you think helps living things to survive. Okay, now remember, we've learned every time we do a science unit, we've learned that scientists okay? And so on your other sheet of paper, I would like you to write down one question, just one question that you have about how living things survive or something you want to know about the survival of living things. So you're going to, with your second paper, I have to move you guys out of the way. Remember that scientists ask questions, and you all are scientists. So what's one question that you have about how living things survive? I see Gabby writing a question and Mariella writing a question. Mia writing a question. And Juliana and Jameson are writing down questions. Brody's writing down a question. JJ's writing down a question. Todd's writing away. Okay. So who would like to share a question that you have about how living things survive? Is there anybody who would like to share a question about how living things survive? Nobody? Juliana.
How does air help plants?
How does air help plants survive? Good. Alessandro, do you have a question? No? Nico?
How do they survive during a storm?
I beg your pardon?
How do they survive during a storm?
Oh, that's a good question since we just had a big storm. How do living things survive in a storm? All right. Anybody else have a question? All right. Now, we're going to put those two things aside. You might, if you have a folder that you're working from, I know Mariella has a folder, you might want to slide those two papers into your folder. If you do not have a folder, you might want to slide them into your interactive notebook, because as we go through the unit, we're going to see if your questions get answered. And if not, by the end of the unit, we'll see if our questions, we'll pull them out and see if our questions were answered as we went along. All right, so go ahead and tuck those things away, because we are going to move on to our guiding question for today's lesson. And there's two of them today. The first is, what do living things need? And what can living things do? JJ, are you checking the living things outside your window? Okay, so our two questions that we should be able to answer by the end of today's lesson is, what do living things need? And what can living things do? And I'm going to ask you to really pay attention, because I'm going to need your help with my anchor chart at the end of the lesson. Okay? And our target questions for today is, we can explain that living things have basic needs. We can explain that living things move, grow, change, and reproduce. Okay? Are we ready to start? Well, maybe before we do, I don't know what happened, why I'm not able to grab this and move you all out of the way. I want you to know that we are talking about Earth's living things. What are the living things that you see in that picture, Alessandro?
Elephants.
Yes, they're the living things that are in that picture. All right, let's go ahead and I wanted to, though, before we start. Oh, you know what? Before we start with the text, I wanted to stop this share, and we're going to, just for a minute, I can't see you, you can't see me, but right now there's three important words, and I don't know if you can see them because I didn't share them with you. Hold on a minute. Let's see if I can pull them up so that you can see them. Unfortunately, I cannot. All right. There are three words that we're going to talk about in this lesson. And those words are offspring, reproduce, and habitat. So as we go through our text that we're going to read, if you hear the meaning of any of those words, offspring, reproduce, or habitat, raise your hand and we will look at the definition, okay? So now I am going to pull up the text that we are going to be working with, called Earth's Living Things. All right, and I might have to scoot you all down here. Earth is home to some plants and animals. It's covered in homes, cities, cars, and roads. Some things found on Earth are living. Living things are alive or were once alive. Other things found on Earth are non-living. How can we tell if something is living or non-living? And so I think in the text, I might have heard the definition of living. Living things are alive or were once alive. But we want to find out how we can tell the difference between something living and something non-living. Okay? Living things have basic needs. In order to survive, most living things need food, water, air, light, and a suitable habitat. So this is important for us to remember. What do most living things need to survive, okay, or to live? They need food, water, air, light, and a good habitat. Living things need to take in food or nutrients. People and animals eat foods like fruits, vegetables, and meat. These substances fuel their bodies and keep them healthy and strong. Plants also need nutrients to live. Plants use air, water, and light to make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. Food is a basic need of all living things. So whether you're a person, an animal, or a plant, okay, you need food and you need water. Living things need water. People need to drink water every day to keep their bodies hydrated. Animals need to drink water too. Plants need water to help them grow and help them make their own food. So water is a basic need of living things. So far, we've heard two things that are basic to all living things surviving. Can you tell me what one of those things is, Brody? What's one of the things all living things need to survive or to live?
Water.
Water. And what's another? Todd?
Food.
Food. So far we know that all living things need food and water to survive or to live. All right. Living things need air to survive. Take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. You just inhaled air into your lungs. Our air is made up of many different gases, but the one your body needs to survive is oxygen. Animals need oxygen to survive too. Mammals, reptiles, and birds breathe oxygen just like people. Now, fish use their gills to take in oxygen from the water that they live in. Plants need air too. Plants use carbon dioxide from the air to help them make food. So now, how many things have we heard that living things need to survive? Jameson, how many things?
3.
And what's one of the three things, Jameson?
Food.
Food. Mia, what's another thing that they need to survive? Yes, ma'am.
Air.
And what's the last thing, Nico? Food, air, and what else?
Water.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, let's see if there's anything else we need to survive. Living things need a suitable habitat to live in. What's a habitat? Who can tell me what a habitat is? Lily.
An animal's home.
Is it okay? But I'm a living thing, so do I need a suitable habitat too?
A house.
A house, okay? Because what would have happened today if you and I did not have a suitable habitat with all of that weather that was happening? What would have happened? Juliana?
We could have died.
Yeah, we could have gotten very hurt. We could have gotten seriously hurt. All right. Suitable means that it's right for that person, plant, or animal. So would you say, if I look at this picture, the suitable habitat for this owl is the tree. Is that a suitable habitat for Gabby? No, it's not a suitable habitat for Gabby. Is it a suitable habitat for a fish, Mia? No, it's not. All right. Suitable habitat should be the right temperature, provide protection, and allow the organism to get food and water. A polar bear would not survive in a desert. A butterfly would not survive in the Arctic. Living things need suitable habitats to survive. And remember, a suitable habitat has to be just the right temperature and provide protection to allow whoever's living there to get the food and water that they need to survive. Everybody with me? If you're with me, thumbs up. I see some people who are a little antsy. All right. Jameson, are you not with us? Because I don't see a thumb up. Brianna, I don't see a thumb up. Okay, let's keep going then. Most living things need sunlight to survive. Sunlight provides living things with energy in the forms of light and heat. Light from the sun allows plants to grow, which provide food to people and animals. Heat from the sun warms our earth so that it is a suitable temperature for life to exist. There are only a few living things on earth that do not rely on light from the sun to live, like some deep sea organisms. However, most living things need the sun and heat and the light it provides to survive. So now I'm going to unhamburger you, hopefully, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, so I need one of the things that living things need to survive. Aaron, what's one?
Air.
Air, okay. Another, Jameson.
A suitable habitat.
Okay, we've got a suitable habitat. We've got air. Another one, Gabby.
Water.
Water, air, suitable habitat, and water. Mia.
Food.
Food. So I have a suitable habitat, air, food, water, and there's one more. Nico, do you know what the last one is?
Light.
Light. Excellent. Okay. Very good. Whoops. You're all in the middle of his face. Aside from their basic aside from their basic needs of food, water, air, or suitable habitat and light from the sun, living things also do certain things. All living things move, grow, change, and reproduce. Is a rock a living thing, Alessandro? Is a rock a living thing?
No.
No, because it can't move, can it, by itself? And it
No.
doesn't grow, and it doesn't change, and it doesn't reproduce. Okay. Living things use their bodies to move. People and animals can use legs to move. Birds can use their wings to fly, and fish can use their fins to swim. While plants cannot move like animals, they can still move. Flowers open and close. Roots and stems grow, and leaves and flowers turn towards the sun. So even though they can't move like you and I do, they still do move. All living things grow and change. Think about how puppies change into adult dogs. That's happening at our house right now. Nala came home very, very teeny tiny, and now she's up to 18 pounds, okay? When she went to the vet on Friday. I'm trying to get you all to be a little bit bigger, but I don't see how I can do that. All right. Think about how human babies grow into adults. Are you guys all the same size as you were when you first came to first grade? Nope. Are you the same as you were last year when you were in kindergarten? Nope. I bet you have pictures around your house when your moms and dads brought you home from the hospital. Do you look anything like that now? No, you've grown, okay? So think about how seeds grow into plants. All living things grow and change in some way over their lifetime. Living things also reproduce. To reproduce means to make some more of their own kind. We call these offspring. People and animals reproduce by having babies. Plants reproduce by producing seeds, which then grow into new plants. Offspring of plants and animals are similar to, but not exactly like their parents. Okay, do you look exactly like your mom or dad? Brianna? No. All right. Non-living things do not have basic needs like living things do. They do not need food, water, air, a suitable habitat, or sunlight. Non-living things also do not reproduce, move, grow, and change on their own. Some non-living things can do some of those things. For example, a car is a non-living thing and it can move, right? And a cake can grow and change when you put it in the heated oven. When you put it in there, it's a liquid. When it comes out, it's a solid. However, they do not have basic needs and they cannot reproduce. So they are non-living. Earth is full of living and non-living things. Now, what do living things need? This is where you're going, and what can living things do? This is where you are going to help me. But I'm going to need to move myself and you over here. Okay, because I have my anchor chart over here. And my anchor chart says, first of all, what do living things need? So I have a friend here who's going to come and help me. So friend, come and help me. You all raise your hand. My friend will call on you. You don't need your shoes, okay? You can sit on the rug if you want. When my friend calls on you, you can give my friend an answer. Okay, so someone who wants to tell me one thing that living things need, raise your hand, and when Mrs. Miller calls on you, unmute yourself and give the answer. So one thing a living thing needs.
Can they hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Todd.
Water.
Water, excellent. That is one thing that living things need. Okay, go ahead. Someone else.
JJ.
Air.
Air, very good. Air is another thing that living things need.
Nico.
Food.
Food, excellent. Food is another thing that all living things need to survive.
Mia.
Sunlight.
Okay, light, very good. So let's look at what we have so far. Water, air, food, light. I think there's one more.
Brianna.
Habitat.
A suitable habitat, a suitable habitat. And by suitable, I mean it has to be the right place that for that animal so that it can get food and it can get water. Now, the second question we were supposed to be able to answer at the end of the lesson is, what can living things do? So what were some of the things that living things can do? There were 4 of them. So what was one of them?
Alessandro.
They can move.
They can move. Excellent. Something else that they can do.
Camilla.
They can grow.
They can grow. Very good. So living things can move. They can grow. What else can they do?
Juliana.
Change.
Yes, they can change. Then there's one other thing that they can do.
Lily.
Okay. Somebody else?
Gabriella. Miss
They
Marie.
can breathe.
Well, they can move, they can grow, they can change, but there's one other thing that they can do. Todd?
Reproduce.
Reproduce. Very good.
Oh, they're going off. So it's moving. Sorry.
Huh?
I keep getting mixed up.
All right. So you really paid great attention during this lesson because you are able to answer the 2 questions from the beginning of the lesson. What do living things need?
They need water.
Air, food, light, and a suitable habitat. What can living things do? They can move, they can grow, they can change, and they can reproduce. All right? Now, in a little bit, our lesson is going to be over, but I wanted to look at one thing that as long as the weather stays nice outside, so you might want to do it before the weather changes. Each of you, your parents, I'm pretty sure, because they're very good about stuff like this, has printed off something that looks like this. There's 2 sheets, okay? There's 2 sheets and they look like this. And so what you have to do, there's 3 on this sheet and 3 on the next sheet. You have to go on a little walk outside and you have to name some things that you see, okay? So if I saw a car, I would write car. Then I would check it off. Does a car need air? Nope, so I'm not gonna put a check mark there. Does it need water? Yeah, it does. Does it need food? No. Does it need light? No. Does it need a suitable habitat? No. I'm only going to check the box if what I have, the living or non-living thing that I wrote over here, needs that as a basic need. Then, okay, remember I chose car. Can a car move? Well, yes, a car can move with help from the driver. Can it grow? No. Can it change? No. Can it reproduce? No. Now, is it living or non-living? Is a car living or non-living?
Non-living.
Right, okay? Because all of these boxes of basic needs and all of these boxes for what they can do have to be checked off in order for them to be living, okay? And now I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. And I want to, if you have a question about what you're going to do on your walk, raise a quiet hand. Well, they all are quiet over there. If you have any questions about what you're going to do on your walk with that paper, Alessandro, what question do you have?
It's 2 pages or 1?
There should be 2 pages.
Okay.
Anybody? Gabby?
If when you're walking and you see the sun, do you check off light or no?
Well, it's not whether you see the light or not, it's whether they require light. Okay, so if in the box you put a car, does a car require light?
No.
So you would not put a check in the box next to light, okay? Do you understand?
Miss Moran,
Raise a hand, please. Juliana?
can we bring a book for a hard surface?
You can, or if mom or dad has a clipboard, you can bring a clipboard. Anybody else have a question? Okay, now one of the other things that, and I did attach the book because one of the other things that you are, and it was there, oh, there it is, that you are going to do is to go back in the book and you're going to write, there's 3 words that we were introduced to, okay? You're going to go back in the book and you're going to find the definition of offspring, reproduce, and habitat. You're going to get your science notebook, which you have at home. You're going to write the word offspring. You're going to find the definition of offspring, and you're going to write it next to the word offspring. Then you will do the same thing for reproduce and habitat. If you'll remember, while we were reading, we learned that offspring is a person's child or an animal's young. And while we were reading, we learned that reproduce means the process where a living thing creates more of their own species. Brianna, the words are over here. And then the last one, habitat, we learned is a place where a living thing makes its home. Are there any questions about that activity? Okay. Jameson, thumbs down. You don't have a question. All right. You guys rock. You're awesome. We learned a lot today about what living things need and what living things can do. You are all living things, so you all need water. You all need air. You need food. You need light, and you need a suitable habitat. And because you are a living thing, you can move, you can grow, you can change, and you can reproduce. Okay? It has been great seeing you. If you don't have any more questions, then I am going to say adios, and I will see you tomorrow.
Bye, Miss Maria.
You want to say goodbye to Mrs. Miller?
Bye, Miss Miller.
Bye, first grade. I miss you.
I miss you too.
Miss you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Miss Maria. Bye.